Let's take a closer look at content and taglines, one of the most important parts of your website design. First and foremost, content should be scannable. It's important to understand how people read on a website. They basically scan the site looking for important points or photos or things that interest them, taglines, for example. And then once they find what they want, they'll dig deeper, and then they're fine with reading a lot of content or getting more into the content and the specifics. But the content on the front part of your website, your home page, your introductory pages, should all be scannable, because that's how people read on websites. And once they do get into the content and start digging into product descriptions, service descriptions, for example, it's important that you say the same thing with less words. For example, a lot of the content you see is brochure copy or marketing speak, this fluffy content that has been created for brochures that really doesn't say anything. You can probably remove half of those words and say the same thing. So take a look at your current content on your site and say, what can we remove from this content and still get the same message across? Use bullets, headers, and small blocks of text. If you're going to do any content or large amount of content, break it into blocks of text of about 3, maybe 4 sentences, have headers above that, and then as much as possible use bullets. In fact, PowerPoint presentations are a great model for what website content should look like. Now, taglines and headers should be very direct in your messaging, and in fact, along with your logo and your contact information on your home page, a tagline should be there to clearly summarize what it is you do, what your company does, and how you add value, and be very direct in your messaging. If you go and talk to people in companies and ask them, what does your company do? And usually 8 to 10 words, they'll tell you what the company does, but then you might visit their website and realize you have no idea what they do. And that's what the experience that a lot of users are having as well. So be very clear and direct in your taglines and in any of your paragraph headers. So do this by focusing on value-added content. Avoid brochure copy and speak in the language of your users. Don't use your internal company speak to communicate on your website. Make sure that you're talking in the language of your users. The most important content on the site is going to be your product and services description. And once again, this should be benefit-focused content. Avoid features, which basically are the bells and whistles of the product, and focus on what the benefits are, what people get from these products, what people tell you that they really enjoy from your products and services. Be very clear on purchase considerations. Keep in mind that although price is very important, it is not usually the most important thing. Trust and service and that sort of thing are right up there with price. But people do want to see a very clear price. They want to know shipping. They want to know your return policies. And all that needs to be fair. In fact, users will judge your business and your website and the pricing on the site based on its fairness and on how value-added it is. Only about 30% of visitors are looking for that bottom price, the lowest price possible for their product or service. Make sure your company locations are listed on the home page and on the Contact Us page. People need to know that this website is indeed associated with a real live company that has a physical location and a phone number and all that. Privacy and security policies are reviewed by almost half of the users out there, especially if they're going to do business with you, contact your company, or purchase from you, or give you their email address. They're going to be looking at these things. You need to have them on your website. Photos must be captioned, and we talked about this in a previous video. People look at photos on websites, and photos that don't have captions, well, people then just assume what that photo might mean. A captioned photo tells a great story about your company and will really draw people in as they scan the site. And any media, whether it's photos or videos or audio, should all support the products and services and link back to the products and services pages. So here's a brief overview of content. We're going to get into more detail on content in other videos on this website. Let's switch gears now and look at the final part of design and development, which is market research and getting feedback from the people on your website. 4 key areas we can look at. One is user surveys, and these are best done on the telephone. And it's best to ask people what they're looking for, what they're looking to do, what interests them. When you do surveys, try to avoid getting opinions from people. That's hard to quantify that data, and you're going to get a lot of different answers. User surveys are critical in the design and development of your website. Web surveys can give you very quantifiable data because people can click on a button and then you can tabulate those results. Focus groups are another good way to get feedback, although focus groups can be tricky. There's pros and cons to them. You need to do multiple groups, and you need to hire a company that is experienced in doing focus groups. It's not something that's done with your internal team. And then finally, user testing is my favorite, one of the best ways to get feedback on your website. Put people on the site, ask them to go through tasks, ask them to think out loud as they click around your website, and you'll learn a great deal about how people use your site, where they stumble, where they navigate to, and most importantly, what motivates them to convert and become a customer. In the next video, we're going to look at our action plan for steps 1 and 2.